Hey guys, welcome to the top 5. You know who I am, and you know what this is going to be. We're going to do the top 5 best and the top 5 meh. But there's no worst because I didn't really play any games that were like that. So, with that said, if you want to get right into it, I have to say this little disclaimer first. These are all based on my opinions of the games that I played throughout the year of 2023, so if you agree or disagree, that is fine. You can even say so in the comments, but otherwise these are all just based on my opinions, based on what I went through as I played them. So, with that said, let's start. At number 5 of the best, we have Car Mechanic Simulator 2021. Now, in most cases, games like this would be in the meh department because, like most of them, it's like, oh, you start a business, you earn money to improve the business, you expand the business so that you can do other services and all that kind of thing. But this one is kind of special because I kind of enjoy doing this more because I love when I would go out with my dad repairing cars and all that. So this brought up a lot of moments like that, like just me and him like sitting on a bench nearby, drinking drinks, relaxing between replacing parts and such at a uncle's driveway and all that. So yeah, I loved it, and that's why this game is where it is, because while it is like most other simulator games, this gives me more connection to what I've done in my life with family.
Bruh.
The fifth meh is Airborne Kingdom. Now, this one is here because, well, it's like most city building simulation things. You start off with the town center or a plain piece of land and you build out from it. You know, building all the expansions and all that, the things you need in order to collect resources and all that in some cases, which in this case is true. However, this one is unique in the fact that you are mobile. In fact, you are airborne, and thus you can move around to look for new sources of stone or wood and all that, and can travel to other kingdoms very easily to forge alliances much better and all that. It's a very interesting take on the whole thing because it kind of gives a loose narrative because you're trying to rebuild the ancient kingdom and all that this airborne one is based off of, which was also airborne. And, you know, it's interesting, but again, it's got a lot of the same stuff that, you know, most city building simulators have. So, it's okay, but definitely not something to write home about. So at number 4 for the best, we have the modded Minecraft games, Skyblock Beyond and Stoneblock 3. Both are really good games because they take the basic idea of Minecraft and modify it to an extent that is very fresh and new. Granted, there are multiple versions of Skyblock at this point, like Skyblock Factory, Skyblock, etc. You know, just a bunch of them that are the same idea. You're in a tree in the sky trying to build a place for yourself from that tree. Stoneblock has at least 2 iterations before it that, you know, had the same idea. You know, you're underground and, you know, build from there. The thing, though, is that, you know, obviously, each one has a different way of going about it. Stoneblock 3 just adds new elements to it, though, so it's not really like it changes a lot, but it does change the core gameplay bit, because instead of mining dirt for the first thing, you have to actually dig rock and all that. Whereas in Skyblock Beyond, the only thing that was different was the fact that I could put it into the vanilla Minecraft thing by using files and all that, but I'm not probably going to do that again because that was a lot of work to freaking find the files. But anyway, I enjoyed my time playing those games and will likely pick them up again after a while, you know, take a break between them because it's like, it's always nice to play them, but never to focus on them.
Bruh.
Whereas the fourth meh is Minecraft Legends. Yeah, both fourth place ones have something to do with Minecraft. In this case, it is the latest game that comes out of Mojang, which is Minecraft Legends, which is... Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I gave it a chance and all that, but I got frustrated with it to a point because it's like, I kind of like the idea. Like, you could build fortresses, you could build all kinds of stuff, and you could gather up troops to fight for you and all that through building golems and collecting animals in the wild and hiring zombies and other mobs to defend your home from piglins and all that. The problem came when it's like you are only limited to your golems, and the piglins have these giant monstrosities that can easily kill your golems and other mobs and all that without even trying. Because that's what it felt like when I had to go and save the zombie village from some piglins. And that kind of just threw me off because it was like, okay, so I did this. And then it's like, of course, they expect you to take over this entire portal area. It's like, dude, you just had a bunch of overpowered creatures on the zombie village. You expect me to be able to freaking take care of that? Are you mad? And so, with that, I decided, yeah, no, I'm not doing this again. Like, I just lost it after that. Interest, not mind. So Signalis takes the third spot because while it is a horror game, and I don't really do well with horror for the most part, as in if I play the game I get spooked out of my mind of it, Signalis is one of those games where it's like, it's a horror game, but I can enjoy it because I can actually fight back against the monsters because I have guns and such. And I do love the whole premise of the whole thing, that you're Elster robot looking for their Gestalt partner, and it leads into all kinds of stuff. And I've been streaming it on as well, as of late, and it's been interesting having to reserve ammunition and such so that you can have a defense against the robots. I've had so many times where I had to sneak by enemies and all that because I ran out of ammunition and all kinds of stuff. And then I meet this one guy, this one robot character that is a male, and I'm like, oh, that's immediately the bad guy. That's because of his demeanor and how he talked. And I'm just like, yeah, this is like the steering wheel character from WALL-E. That's like, oh, he's a big bad guy, despite the fact that he's probably like one of the most important things in the ship and all that. But yeah, so definitely third place, at least because I enjoyed the game, even though it's a horror game in aspects. But yeah.
Bruh.
Now, in terms of the meh, we have Coral Island. And the reason for that is, after thinking a while, it is nearly one for one, basically a Stardew Valley clone. Like, really thinking about it. Like, the differences are very minimal, in a sense. So, let me do it this way. Stardew Valley, you are a person that has taken over a farm after your deceased grandfather has bequeathed it to you. And so you move there, meeting the townsfolk and all that, building relationships, growing the farm, adventuring, mining, all the sorts of stuff to help grow as a person and as a farmer and all that, eventually getting married and having a kid and all that type of stuff. And then you have to deal with the fact that there's a company called Joja Mart that is trying to take over the community center, and so you have a choice whether to help that company or help the community center get back off its feet. And depending on which side you take, can affect how the island ends up. I say that because it is almost essentially the same thing with Coral Island, I would bet. Because, let's be frank, you're a person that moves to Coral Island after taking over a farm. You meet the townsfolk and all that. You build relationships with them, potentially to marry one of them, because of course practically everyone is romanceable in this one. Although in Coral Island's difference is that you can actually romance those of the same gender as well. And there's a company that's trying to take over the island so that they can collect oil and such. So this gives an eco-friendly message along with the fact that it is a 1-to-1 Stardew Valley clone, practically. The major difference is that it adds some new things to it, like the fact that you can dive into the water, and that in the dungeons is where you'll find the mystical creatures that will be helping you in saving the island and all that. However, I didn't take the other route. I don't even know if there is another route, but the fact that it's like that's the same story going on is kind of really thinking about it is like, yeah, that's kind of 1-to-1 Stardew Valley. They just made slight tweaks to make it different. Now, of course, the graphics and all that is beautiful. But the fact that the gameplay and story is, near identical, is kind of like, yeah. But either way, it's a fine game. I'm not saying it's something that's gonna break the deal or anything. But thinking about it, yeah, you may as well just stay in Stardew Valley. The second best game, after some thought, like literally as I was trying to record this, I gave it some good thought on this. And the second best game for me is Sea of Stars. And I get it, it's supposed to be like homage to Chrono Trigger and all that. And I can see it with the art and the story and all that. But the game more says to me Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, like I said in my review for it. The reason for that is because of how the special attacks work and all that, and the timing button and all that. Because Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga also had that kind of thing, where if you press the button just right, the attacks will cause a little more damage, or you can like keep the combo going, that kind of thing. And it made sense. So that's why I thought about it. And thinking about it more is that I only went to the extent of doing one picture for it and then making some streams about it and, playing the video game for the review of it. And that's all I really did for it. So there's not really much to the game to make it any further than second place. I mean, again, it's a really good game, and I definitely recommend people check it out. But, yeah.
Bruh.
Now, the second best meh is Potion Craft. I really wanted this to be a little better. Like, honestly, I kind of get it and all that, but at the same time, there was elements to it I couldn't necessarily understand, per se. The thing is, with this game, it's like, obviously you're making potions and all that for people to buy and all that. Like, it's like a simulator things. However, this one is a little interesting because it's like the ingredients you put into the potion, put on a map and all that. Like, I explained it in the review, that there's this like magic map that with every potion ingredient you put in, you can go along this map until you get to the desired effect you want. And I get it, it's supposed to make it a little more unique and all that. But thinking about it, it's like, it's really tedious. Because once you get that thing down, you don't necessarily need to do it all over again. You could just save the recipe and go back to it and just make it over again. Without having to go through all that again. And you could buy more paper in order to save those recipes. So it's like, it kind of soon becomes just monotonous, shifting through pages to find the right recipe and all that for a potion you need to make. So it kind of just dulls it down to the point where I'm like, yeah, this is just another potion thing. It's like, did it really even need to be a full game? Now, before we get into the best and most meh, we're going to go into honorable mentions, like we've done in the past. These are games that did not make it onto the list for one reason or another. And to start off, we're going to talk about Honkai Star Rail. Now, this one is not on the list. The same reason I did not put Genshin Impact on the list when I reviewed that is because it is not a complete story. The game's fine and all that, but it's not complete in a sense. Like, of course, it's a full game and all that, but because the story doesn't have an end yet, I can't really say for sure if it's good all the way through. Because there might come a point where it is not the best at all. And, you know, it could make one leave the game for one reason or another. You know, for a time. For me, though, I'm not planning to go back into it. Like, I even uninstalled it at this point. Because it's not for me. I already explained it in my review video, but, you know, mainly the mechanics is just not my type of thing. It's good, I'm not saying it's bad, it's just not my kind of thing for what I was looking for in this. And so I'm just gonna move on before any more flack comes my way. The next one I'm gonna talk about is Steel Duos by the wonderful Kieran Harris. They are a wonderful artist, wonderful game designer. They make so much good stuff. They helped make the game Xenogunner by providing the assets of the characters and all that. They made Steel Zeros, which was a kind of like a spiritual predecessor to this, and this is kind of playing onto that element with, you know, the idea of the two characters. But either way, it's a good game. If anything, it's a good proof of concept, because I don't know how much further they're going with this, but I'm sure that the next time they do something like this, I'll be seeing elements from this game from it as well. Either way, it's a good game you should check out. Next up, we'll talk about VTuber Summit. This one, I can't put on the list because first off, it is the very last video I reviewed before this video. So it would seem to me a little unfair if I were to do that. Like, if I were to do a top 10, then it would probably be on the list. Like, if anything, this would be at least at number 6, because it is a really good game. Not because of the graphics, because it's an RPG Maker thing, not because of the gameplay, again, because it's an RPG Maker thing, but because of the message it is trying to convey. I won't get into it, you can watch my actual video for that, but it's a really strong message to me, and I feel like that's how it is. At the time of recording this, I haven't really played any further, but it's probably something that a lot of people can feel. Either way. Lastly, I'm going to talk about a game that isn't on the list because it's technically not even in existence. Deep Rock Galactic. And immediately you're probably being like, you never reviewed this, you're right. There's not a video for it. Let me give you a little behind the scenes story. So, this game... Obviously, this game's been out for a long time, so obviously it's not like I'm the first person to review it or anything, but here's the thing. With the newest season coming out, I wanted to give a review for the game. Even if I'm a small voice, I wanted to give my little support for it, whether good or bad. You know, just give it attention. I know there's other YouTubers out there that did that, but either way. So, I recorded my opinions on the game for what I was playing at the time. And I had it all edited. I fixed the audio a bit. I added the images that I needed to add. I had everything ready. But then I realized I forgot an element to the whole thing. I believe it was putting the logo in. And I tried to fix that post-production by taking the video and just adding that into it. But when I tried to export it, something went wrong and the file got corrupted, making me have to scrap the whole thing, unfortunately. So, it's really sad that it couldn't be able to come into light just like the others, but I had to move on because I wasn't about to waste a whole other thing trying to get this going. I would have been behind schedule if I did. So, otherwise, the thing is, I still have the raw audio, and if maybe enough people ask for it or something like that, maybe I'll release it on my coffee or something for people to just listen to it. And, there's that. But otherwise, it is not available to the public as of now. and maybe that might change in the future. Maybe I'll just upload a thing where you can just hear my thoughts on Deep Rock Galactic, as sort of a little bonus thing. But otherwise, that's about it. And with that, we're gonna go right into it. Now, in my opinion, the best game of 2023, based on what I played, is Garden Story. And the reason I say that is because I did art for them. And I don't mean like do it after stream or anything. No, this was done on its own separate streams at times, and otherwise, I just wanted to draw them. Just even after a couple days of finishing the game, or at least the story part of the game, I just wanted to draw the characters, in a sense, in human AU form. And I say that because I even said that I was doing what if the characters were in human form, and it's great. So the graphics, the gameplay, all of it was really nice. The only issue I had was toward the end, the final boss of the story. I could not figure out how to deal with it, in a sense. I had somebody in my chat when I was streaming it tell me a hint of how to beat it, and I was like, oh, really? I did not realize that. And otherwise, it was great. I loved the story, I loved the conclusion, and I love that there's a after story stuff, you can continue helping the towns and all that. It just made it really good, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone that wants to check out a chill yet interesting story about fruits in their little hovels in the seasons.
Meh.
Now, in contrast, the most meh game is a game that had so much potential to it, in my opinion, but kind of failed because it felt incomplete, even though it's a fully released game, and that is Homestead Arcana. The idea is interesting. You go around the world harvesting ingredients and, growing your crops and all that to make potions and such to help you go through the miasma and all that. But I felt like there was so much just missing from it. The ability maybe to make your own crop plots and all that. I get it. The tree is supposed to be your starting one, but you should at some point be able to make your own, at the start. You just collect some dirt and all that, or at some point make a hoe with the wood and such, and, make your own little garden area where you can grow the stuff that you have the space for. Because the tree only has limited amount, and, you don't necessarily want to uproot it just to grow a new thing. But yeah, the miasma thing, I get the idea. You're technically supposed to be defenseless through the thing, so you're supposed to think of different ways of getting past certain obstacles and enemies and all that stuff, but I kind of really wish there was at least a spell to take care of the smaller ones at some point. Something that would be a flash bomb that spooks all the rabbits to flee the area for a time. That, it's a one-time charge. You can't use it again. They'll come back after a while, and you can't do the flash bomb thing again unless, later on down the line you get a secondary charge or something like that. Limited to 2 charges to balance it out. There's so many things I really felt like that could have improved it, but yeah. Now, mind you, I'm saying this after playing it a couple times. And maybe at some point they've patched things into it, that made it work better and all that. But I'm just saying, based on what I experienced, it just felt like an incomplete game. Certain aspects, I'm just it doesn't really work. And it has the whole thing with the Resident Evil space inventory type of thing, that you have to, shift things around in order to make space for objects and all that, which I get. It's supposed to be interesting and makes you have to be considerate of what you're packing and all that, but if you know what you're going to be taking into the miasma and all that, it's you don't necessarily need to do it per se. You can make it the most efficient thing as possible. All in all, I just feel like this was a letdown, in a sense. not the worst. I mean, it's an interesting game. I don't knock it for any of it, like saying, oh, this is bad and all that. No, it's just a game that just feels incomplete. With all that said, I really would say, check it out if you want, and maybe you'll have a different opinion than me. But that's just how I felt with this. And with that, we are going to cap this haul off. Once again, that I've been saying throughout the entire video, this is all based on my opinion. Whether you agree or disagree, that's totally fine. You can even talk about it in the comments if you wish, but this is all based on my experiences through these games, whether minimally or to the whole thing. And with all that said, I want to thank you all so much for this entire season that's had so many surprises with some of the videos' receptions. And I really hope that the next season will garner as much as it did this time around. If you want to see more stuff like this, you can check out the videos before, including the previous seasons. You can check out my Let's Play videos if you wish to, for all I care. But I live stream on Twitch at this point, late at night, however, as it is going to be around midnight EST for me. And you can also check out my TikTok for animatics that I've done, although as you probably see on my channel, I upload them onto my shorts panel now as well, but you get the latest ones on TikTok. In terms of art, you can check out my Twitter or Tumblr for that, although I also have Blue Sky now, which you'll be seeing a lot more of my journal pages from there for the challenge that I was doing throughout 2023. And then, if you wish to support me financially, there's always my Ko-fi, where you can do either one-time donations or you can commission me for art. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much to everyone that either suggested a video or made the games that I checked out. And with all that said, again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see y'all next time. Or rather, like in the last one, next season. Bye!